Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And your work was very illuminating, especially in raise wages. No need. You point out the use of virtual cashiers, which is something I never heard of from the
Mhm.
global south by companies like Freshie. How does the outsourcing of low wage labor fit into the broader global capitalist system here?
Sure. I mean, it really is about global capitalism, right? I mean, fast food is a global industry, and I mean, to take a step back for a second, I mean, one of the things that is just so fascinating about fast food is that it's not. I don't see it as like an aberration of capitalism. It isn't kind of some weird kind of like side quest in the bigger story of capitalism. I mean, it is capitalism applied to food and taken to its logical ends. I mean, that's what fast food is. It's just about kind of turning a restaurant into a factory. And then kind of behind the factory of the restaurant, there's an even larger factory that kind of puts out, the burgers, the buns, the ketchup, and all the rest. And then you kind of like connecting them in a big network that spans an entire state or entire country. That's kind of that's what the fast food industry is. The fact that it sells burgers and fries is just kind of incidental. I mean, really, what it's selling is a stock. It's selling it is a financial product that it's delivering. It just kind of knows that you are, what will get you into the store through the drive-through lane and get you to part with your money is burgers and fries and milkshakes. Everyone likes this stuff. Um, so, if we think of it that way, if we think of it, this is just capitalism applied to food, then it's only natural that it kind of follows all the other things that other industries that are thriving in the current era are doing. And so, and it is true of fast food in general that there isn't a lot of innovation there. I mean, even in the 50s when it started, there was really nothing about what like the McDonald's brothers or Ray Kroc did that was like really different. That's kind of one of the myths of the industry that they kind of invented this industry whole cloth. It's like no, they were a lot of restaurants were kind of moving in that direction already. They figured out, or Ray Kroc figured out a way to just kind of take it to a bigger scale than any restaurant had ever operated on ever before. And in achieving that scale, they could kind of buy ingredients for less. They could advertise on TV. They could kind of become an empire where in a sector of the economy which was until then really only run with by like mom and pop small business. So it is just capitalism applied to food.
But it's
And
so.
so we have
Oh, go ahead, I'm
other
sorry.
industries are now like call centers and whatnot. They rely on call centers outsourcing labor to or offshoring labor to kind of drive down prices and to extract labor. That is to separate the labor from the person.
Mhm.
You get you with your kids and your demands and you're wanting a glass of water and all that. You just keep that man in your own damn country. That's your problem. All we want out of you is your labor, is you delivering the lines which we actually write. So it's a person talking in a script. And it's just and by kind of outsourcing labor, fast food, these, the few, and there's not tons of restaurants that are doing this, but the ones that are, they can extract that labor for themselves without keeping this person, without also taking in this person and all their problems, and their demands and their wants for kind of better working conditions and whatnot. So in that way, they are just following what other industries are doing, and that is kind of the magic of fast food is that they are applying these kind of other capitalist like techniques of exploitation to the restaurant business.
I mean, Tucson, did the kiosk kind of blow your mind with the people in the global south working in the kiosks? Did that blow your mind too?
Um, there was a huge McDonald's across the street from the Empire State Building
Mhm.
where I used to go sometimes, and you would think that they bring in like a ton of revenue, and this would be like cutting edge what McDonald's is doing. So they introduce all the kiosks, and sometimes they're just broken, and then the lines are just long, and everyone's pissed off. I think eventually it closed. Like,
reading that you're actually going, oh, there's these poor people in Nicaragua. We could pay a nickel. We can outsource this, so we don't even know what they're getting paid, and don't care. And it's not our problem now. We outsource it, not our problem.
Right.
I watched, not necessarily in preparation for this show, kind of coincidentally with this show, there was a documentary that showed up in my YouTube algorithm from DW, I think, Deutsche World. And it was about the workers that do AI, like the human labor that solves the equations. So your AI is more efficient,
Mm-hmm.
so the cars don't hit you. So when you order something on like Amazon, let's say, your suggested proper items, so you do buy more. The people that go through looking at all the horrible images on sites like Facebook and Twitter, to I don't want to say change, but to enforce their policies for I don't know what behavior. It was fascinating how little these people made. First of all, it was like between 5 cents and $5 an hour.
Right.
How many hours they put in to do this kind of work, and
Right.
it's a global labor market as well.
Yeah, it is, and that's like, although I mean, important thing to remember is it's the globalness of fast food is kind of an old story. It's not just that fast food is it's all over the country. I mean, it's all over the world. I mean, there are like, I think, my last time I checked, there's around like 3 or 4,000 KFCs in the U.S. and there's 6,000 in China.
Damn.
Oh, right. So it's really, really, it makes more money. I mean, the big sellers, the McDonald's, the KFCs, they do more business outside of the U.S. than inside of it, and they are primarily growing in the global South, in developing countries. So in that sense, it's always been global. I mean, it's been global for a couple decades. In another sense, though, it's global here. I mean, when I worked at McDonald's, I mean, almost everyone I worked with came from Latin America, and I wouldn't say, I mean, well, I can't speak for all of them, but they were, for the most part, they were not like, they didn't immigrate to the U.S. with dreams of working at McDonald's and working the late shift at McDonald's and working another job along with working at McDonald's 40 hours a week. But that's where they ended up, and the industry relies on immigrant labor. They rely on them because they are marginal and they can pay the minimum wage, and because they won't complain. And there's a lot of industries that rely on immigrant labor too. And so, by kind of like this kind of latest development in fast food labor, kind of outsourcing them through video calling to the Philippines, to Nicaragua, I mean, that is a continuation of the same logic that the industry has always followed, which is just the logic of capitalism. And it's a way to, in this case, importing the labor without importing the person. So for them, this is just a dream come true.
What does the MAGA crowd have to say about that?
They've
been pretty quiet. They don't have a lot to say about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of kind of like internal logical gaps within the MAGA crowd's kind of worldview, right? So, yeah, I mean, needless to say, if we really built the wall, if like we really did just kind of stop immigration cold, I think, like, yeah, I imagine that would have an effect on the fast food industry in all 50 states.
Oof.
So, that's a whole nother, but yeah.
That's another episode. Yeah.
Yeah.